now that I'm back and now that we're here, I can introduce. With me as always is my trusty TA Al Baca. Say hi, Al.
Hi, Al.
No, say hi, Al Baca.
Yes, you said hi. Say hi, Al. You did not
Oh.
say hi, Al Baca.
Like a trained dog. Like, you know the exact thing that I need to say.
That is a Wookiee, sir, not a dog. That is racist in our Kashyyyk culture.
Say hi, Al Baca.
Oh.
Oh, that's classic. That's classic. Okay. Well, sorry about the weird, sound stuff or video stuff with the lecture, but hopefully the sound audio. But people are telling me that the audio at least was pretty okay, so I should be able to still cut that out as a nice little video. How'd it sound to you, Al?
Sounding better now.
Okay.
Oh, the other one, yeah. Well, it sounded all right, but the video was just horrid. I mean, come on,
yeah,
it was terrible. I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
You may know this, or if Stephen Cruz can answer this. The creature, is it a werewolf or is it Bigfoot?
That's what I was wondering too, because I don't know. I'm thinking it could have been a bear, or it could have been a werewolf or Bigfoot. Yeah, anything.
Is it a forest furry creature, 7 feet tall? First thing I think of, Sasquatch.
Yeah, because I got the thought at first that he was running from the police, but not necessarily. Rottweilers were after him, or something that sounded like a Rottweiler, I think. So definitely want to read more of that, Stephen Cruz. Hopefully you continue to drop more portions of that.
Something even worse, a were-squatch. That's a Sasquatch that turns into a wolf.
Isn't that one a comic book, Shinobi Sasquatch?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's
a were-squatch.
A Bigfoot who's been trained as a samurai who was bitten by a werewolf.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a pretty sweet idea. So, yeah. Welcome to all of our newcomers to the chat. I see Mr. Troy Pacelli back here. Said, by the way, anyone interested in continuing the discussion of the EU and keeping up the news on Disney Star Wars? Yeah, definitely click on that link. Scroll up a little bit in the chat and you'll see that Troy dropped a link to his Boycott Disney Star Wars group, which is quite good.
Speaking of Disney Star Wars, Mandalorian nominated for an Emmy for Outstanding Dramatic Presentation. Thank you very much.
Can we just call it the Baby Yoda Show? Do we have to keep pretending it's about the Mandalorian?
It is called the Mandalorian. Thank you very much. Call it what it is supposed to be called.
Who was it? Was it Dr. Y or somebody who posted that amazing meme in the Facebook group? It was like, calling it Baby Yoda, that insinuates that there's a posh Yoda, a sporty Yoda, ginger
That
Yoda.
was terrifying yet completely humorous.
And I think Daniel Heron was like checking out posh Yoda, which was even all kinds of weird again. That's our buddy Daniel.
Well, I always like sporty Yoda, so.
See, we got Casey Scott in here. Melissa Harris is back with us. Nanette Pacelli. Hello, Nanette Pacelli.
No,
Matchstick, ensuring that I will not pimp Weeb Watch. Steve Cruz says Albaca Wilden. I don't know what that means. Is that one of those crazy kids terms these days? If you're crazy, are you Wilden? He says Albaca Wilden. I don't know what that means.
I've never heard that before.
My nieces were making fun of me the other day because I didn't have this precise definition of yeet. Y-E-E-T.
Sounds like a mosquito repellent. I know it's
it does.
But yeah, it's
something like that. Yep. Stephen Cruz might use that were-squatch idea. Nice. So, all right. That was your friend Skipper Kenner that did that meme. Yeah, that's right. That's right, Troy Pacelli. Thank you. That was hilarious. Love that. So cool. Well, looks like we're at the time here and the audio is still good. So I think we can go ahead and start our book study. We're doing chapters 20, 21, and 22 tonight. Move pretty fast. A lot of action,
Sorry.
No, that's appropriate because we are in the thick of the mission, right?
Yep.
We're in the thick of it here, and not just the thick of the mission, but in the thick of crisis control and damage control within the mission. So that's good to do. We start off. Okay.
It's a fluid situation right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They have to keep adapting the plan, and it's pretty impressive how they adapt it. Sometimes you get a little aggravated maybe at some of the characters. We'll talk about that as we go through. But we start out with Lando, and Lando's we left him when he left the cryodex for Villagor, and he's supposed to be waiting now before he's got this new role, right? Remember, Zerba hinted that his next role will be playing someone respectable, and this kind of stuff. So it's we got him there, and then I like it that he's thinking to himself, he's talking to Rochelle, and this is how you do it when you don't want to lay out the whole plan in a heist, because that's boring. We like to be in the midst of the action. We like to see things go wrong. And then we want to see them adapt and overcome it, but we also want to make it believable that they had plans for this, or that it's feasible they could overcome this. And that's a delicate balance.
And also, I mean, like in a lot of movies, like heist movies and stuff, you want to think something is going terribly wrong, but then you eventually find out that they had planned for it and were actually ahead of the situation.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah.
I dig that kind of thing.
So little subtle things in the dialogue. For example, Lando's talking to Rochelle over the comms. Probably Lando said, so Han had gotten loose on his own because he finds out that Han is free now inside. He should have guessed they couldn't hold him for long. What about Tavia? No word, Rochelle said grimly. But if Quasati has taken over, and we've certainly given him enough reasons to do so, it's likely that both she and Han will be taken to wherever he's set up shop. So the idea that little subtle things like that, where you don't really have a character going out of their way, speaking unnaturally, saying, well, of course, Lando, you know that we had planned for Quasati to have to take over. No, nothing like that. But just, well, if Quasati's taken over, and we've certainly given him enough reasons by now, that's good. That's a way to get that information in a natural flow of the dialogue. We also have Han now, Lando. He's going to change uniforms of his own. So he was dressed as Quirv, dropping off the cryodex, but now he's got one of those little eggs that Zerba makes that changes the clothes quickly. And we saw that with the really cool switch and change with Bink and Tavia, but we weren't in their perspectives while it was going on. Now we're in Lando's perspective, and we actually get to see a little bit of how that works, how it might feel even. And I like that. He expected to feel a shock or a jolt as the silk owl clothing ripped away into the egg, but there was barely a whisper of sensation. A neat trick, Lando decided, and one he'd have to look into for future use. So again, something cool like that, you can give the sensation of it too when you got an omniscient narrator who's can jump into anybody's head at certain times. Now we get a little bit more of Lando's great bluffing abilities, which I'm just always in awe of. I love this. Mm-hmm. Walks up confidently. He says he taking a deep breath, stiffening into the arrogant official posture he'd seen way too many times on police and security officers. He rounded the corner. Sergeant Emil Talbot, Iltar City Police, Lando said curtly. I need to check out an emergency call we received from someone inside. Now, this is a heavy bluff to force your way in to Villachor's mansion, heavily guarded, but you got to have crazy amounts of confidence in your acting right there. That's why you're called a confidence man, a con man,
Plus somewhere he's actually been before.
Exactly. Yeah. Taking a big risk that they might notice him or recognize him, somebody, around. And they say, sorry, officer, but I have strict orders. And he said, it's sergeant, not officer, Lando snapped. And I don't need your permission to investigate an emergency situation. So again, just really playing that role quite well to the point where he gets there. The guy has to radio. It talks about the droid room, and the droid room, the guard asked, stiffening. Yes, the droid room. Lando jabbed a finger at the door behind him. Now get that door open right now, or I swear to you. And then that M dash, for the cutoff. Yes, of course, the guard said, taking a step back. So it's a really good Lando handling himself again. We'll see a little bit of that. Han trying to do a little bit of it. Sort of successful, not quite as successful as Lando, though, because Lando's the man at that. Then we've got later, so he makes his way in, and then Castoni, who's one of the men there, one of those guards, is radioing Villachor, and we get to hear how well it worked. And this is another cool way to show how the plan was supposed to go down by looking at the aftermath. It makes sense that Villachor would talk to his men about what happened. So now we can see, we get the idea of why. So why in the hell did they call for help? Even a plasma jet would take time to get through that door, Villachor said. They probably tried, Castoni said. There's something on the wall on top of the intercom and alarm lines. signal damper of some sort, probably. That's that thing that Kel left there that said it doesn't do anything, but they won't know that.
Mhm.
And they didn't think to use their comm links instead? Sure, that's how the cops got wind of it, Castoni said sourly. Again, makes perfect sense, and that's why Lando showed up. So you see they had this plan really well figured out. And then he asked about this cop. Who is this cop? You check him out. So he said, Sergeant Emil Talbot. Don't know him personally, but his ID looks good, and he's in the system. So they did that much with Rochelle's help. Seems to know how to handle a crime scene, too. So, just all those little elements that you see that they allowed for and that fall into place. Because you do need to have a measure of their plan falling into place in a heist.
Yeah. And of course, if anybody knows what a crime scene would look like, it could be someone like Lando.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure he's been around a few.
Exactly. And, I think about, I don't know why, but I'm not a big heist genre movie watcher in general, but I do love Ant-Man. And that was just such a great heist movie. And I just love that movie. And you think about the way that, if you've seen it, the way that played out, a lot of their plans worked and took off without a hitch. You need that, but you also need the complications to show their ability to adapt and whatnot. So we move on here, and we do have a nice, no, that's not coming up yet. Now we move to Dozer and Winter. Last time we were with Dozer and Winter, Dozer was a little bit jealous of Winter and how just nonplussed she looked, and she was just completely at ease and okay with whatever was going to happen, and he was freaking out, and he decided he wasn't going to let her, someone younger than him, show him up. So it's interesting here. Dozer's going to go rogue, and we did hear him say that he was going to be the one to bring in more money, but we didn't hear it. We didn't hear how he was going to do that. And so he asked her, or she asked him, "Are you okay?" "I'm fine," he assured her. "I'm thinking that after we rammed them and blocked this entrance, maybe you should stick around and keep the attention busy while I go across the block on the other side." "I thought you wanted me to come help you," she said. "I don't think I'll need you," he said. "You might as well stay at this end where you're out of the way." "Where I'm out of the way," Winter echoed. You get this, he's jealous of her, so he wants to kind of assert that, he's better. "No, you stay here where you're out of the way, young one, and I'll go handle the manly business," or whatever. Again, Dozer is, I can't help but to like him, even for his ridiculous sensitivities and the fact that he's trying to go rogue here. That's sure, if he pulled it off, that'd be a good thing. He's trying to get the cryodex as well, and that would be worth more money, but so many things could have gone wrong in his plan here.
He almost gets himself killed. And her.
Exactly. I mean, so many things.
I'm sitting there thinking, what is he doing?
Well, the crash was part of the plan, and that's fine. But then he goes off, and he's trying to sabotage Azil's speeder, and he still needs her help because she has to tell him which one is Azil, so he can't get away from needing other people and her help. And this is, his whole plan is to set this remote control up on the speeder, and once Azil gets in with the cryodex and his guards, he says, she's like, "You don't even have a blaster. You're not thinking this through." And he says, "Oh, we don't need a blaster." His plan is just to knock the speeder about so much that when they eventually topple it over, they'll just be able to reach in, and hopefully they'll all be too fuddled to fight back, and he can just grab the cryodex from them. Mm-hmm. That's a long shot.
It's not a terrible plan if it works. But man, there's a lot of moving pieces. And I do mean a lot of moving pieces because it gets so frantic, everything has to work right.
Exactly. And a lot of things do go wrong. And to pull Winter into this at the last moment, not even telling her what's going on. Yeah, that's it's reckless, very reckless. So we jump back to Lando there, and he knows which console to point out to them eventually, so that they can find out that the Zeds were the ones that were trying to be tapped into. But he can't do it too soon. But then I hope so, Lando said, glancing casually out the door, and froze. I love that. Glancing casually out the door, period, and the next paragraph, and froze. That's a fragment, but that's a great artistic use of it, period. Mm-hmm. At the far end of the hallway, talking intently toward his comlink clip as he strode toward the control room, was Shikoa, the head of Villator Security, who, of course, knows what Lando looks like as Quirv. So possible topsy-turvy plan there. Great tension moment. Luckily, he keeps his back turned, and he gets out of it okay. Shikoa ends up being called away to go check something out. So that's lucky. But the Zeds are the ones that they're after. So they find that out by the quote unquote sabotage of the console they did. That's what they're trying to make them think. And I love this part of the plan. I love this. Shikoa gets he's on his way. Villachor wants to open the vaults to make sure everything's okay in there after they were obviously after the Zeds. So then some of Quasadi's men are wanting to come question Shikoa because they've not been getting anywhere with Tavia. She doesn't seem to be a thief. They can't find any of the trace dye on her hands, no finger snips, no places where finger snips might have been, and so on. So they're trying to force Shikoa, but Shikoa breaks bad with them. You got some real deal tension now between Villachor and Quasadi's men. Let me tell you what's going to happen, Shikoa said into the taut silence. I'm going to the vault, and I'm going to confirm that the safe and its contents are secure. After that, if Master Villachor feels he can dispense with my services for the few minutes you mentioned, I'll be happy to answer any questions His Excellency has for me. He lifted the barrel of his blaster a couple of centimeters. You can come with me, you can return to His Excellency and wait, or you can die. Your choice. I mean, like, wow, things are getting real there, you know? So that tension between, no more play acting between Villachor and Quasadi's man, definitely.
Yeah, you have a feeling he's in the middle of a very bad day.
Yeah. Exactly. More of Dozer's plan going awry. Oh, go ahead.
One thing I do like though is that he mentions like not even a sign of where these finger snips would even have been.
Exactly.
Like I said, that twin thing is what is a little twin magic. There was a wrestling duo who are twin females. They had the twin magic, they like to call it.
Yeah, able to switch places like that. Because you would imagine, I mean, I don't quite know the ins and outs of how finger snips would work, but apparently they went under Bink's fingernails, so you could imagine there'd be marks or stuff like that.
Yeah, well, like I said, in Star Wars, there's this like whole tech thing, and I'm sure there was some kind of weird biological print that you could tell if someone had them at one point.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So they get that. Now we jump back to Dozer. The plan keeps going wrong. He's trying to adapt, but he's doing a good job of it. Of course, the irony though is his original plan does end up working. He is able to actually reach into that speeder and pull out the cryodex in the end.
Can you imagine
pretty cool.
Can you imagine being a Zeal though in that damn thing?
Wow! Bam! Yeah. Like he had no idea how long it would take the men in the Faline inside to recover from that double punch that he did with the remote control there. He also had no intention of hanging around long enough to find out. Jumping up from his crouch, he ran to the turtled vehicle, keyed the lock control, and pulled open the door. The land speeder's interior was nearly as much of a mess as its exterior. Apparently, Azil had a miniature refreshment bar set up for his convenience, the contents of which were now scattered or dripping across the fancy seats. But none of that mattered. All that mattered was the cryodex was fastened around a dazed Faline's waist, and there were no blasters pointed at him. Unfastening the hip pouch, Dozer tucked back out and sprinted towards the turbo lifts. No time to get an airspeeder now. He knew they'd be going out, so they run out. Got this explosion that goes on of gunfire and whatnot. And that wraps us up on chapter 20 with Dozer and what happens there in a second. But anything else you wanted to mention in chapter 20 that I didn't cover?
No, I just, like I said, as crazy as the plan was, it does show that Dozer's got some skills, especially when he hands the controls to Winter and he goes just forward, backward, sideways, wiggle, boost.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like, just do that. And we'll be, trust me, that's what we need to do. And so, as crazy as it was, like you said, it almost worked. Almost worked.
Well, it did work. It just what happened after it.
Oh yeah, that poor little asshole sentence there. The game was over, and he had lost.
Yeah, and you think about Dozer. He's somebody he had these skills from the get go, but he didn't get a chance to show them, and he started feeling like he was the odd man out, and he got a little over eager. So he's had these skills all the time, but he let his ego get in his way, as some people say, and that's why this didn't go too well. So.
Yeah, I can just imagine how south this would have gone if Lando hadn't shown up.
Yeah,
because I don't think he had the.
Well, not Lando, but Deshul, the whole Imperial element.
No, I'm talking about him.
To the whole heist in general.
To the heist in general, yeah. If they didn't have Lando, I mean, Lando's got the just skills that Dozer he doesn't have.
Yeah, definitely. So chapter 21, we've got Shikoa going into the vault room there with Villachor, tailed by these two following from Kozadi. And tells Villachor right out, I didn't call for anyone either, sir. They invited themselves, and I didn't think I had time to kill them. I mean, so it's, talk about some tension going on there. Then I love this part of the plan. So Villachor goes up to the Zed, and we don't really know what's happening first, but we know that there's a scent mechanism as part of the security. Do you mind turning your headphones down just a smidge there, Al? I'm hearing my echo a couple times here. But he goes up and places his hand up in front of the Zed, the droid, and it's supposed to catch the scent and move on. Well, and eventually us frustrated and reaches for it and touches the Zed with his hand. Well, then the Zed tries to attack him, and Shikoa has to get him out of the way because the Zeds are programmed to react violently to anybody trying to touch them. They're security droids. So Villagor thinks, well, they did hack into the Zeds. They compromised them. And then he thinks, that means whoever's here is inside the vault right now. So we need to completely deactivate these Zeds because they're the ones protecting who's ever in the vault. We need to deactivate the Zeds and then get that vault door open desperately, which is just so cool because then we jump over to Han, Bink, and Zerba and Kel and all them where they're over there trying to cut a hole into the top of the vault. And sounds like five of them being memorable. I guess Han and his magic data card came through, Zerba said. He seemed even more astonished than Han that the plan was working. What was on it anyway? Just plain simple flux perfume base, Bink said, sliding a slender optic line under the door and adjusting the eyepiece over her eye. The kind that adapts to your body chemistry through the day. One touch was enough to get the solvent reagents into the cologne on Villagor's hand and alter it just enough to be unrecognizable to the Zeds. So now we think back to that moment when Han was held by the guards there, and yet he desperately reached in his pocket and pulled the card he was supposed to deliver to Villachor and tossed it to him really quickly. And he grabbed it by instinct. We were thinking, what is that for? Now you've got the reason. It's all part of the plan. So that took away the cologne on his hand, taking away the Zed's ability to recognize it and so forth.
Man, if we could only take care of Axe body spray that way.
Somebody, one of my Facebook friends the other day is like, I shouldn't be able to smell your Axe body spray through my mask, which I put a filter in and all these kinds of things.
Sometimes I think I can smell it through the internet.
I probably can. Yeah, there's cologne, then there's Axe body spray.
You can't tell a high school kid who they love this stuff. Started to get a little off, but we're talking about scents and stuff. Axe body spray, no.
So some more thinking on the fly here on Han's part. Remember, he wasn't even supposed to be there. He was just supposed to deliver that data back and wait in the suite while the rest of them carried this out. But since they captured him and so forth, he's there now. And he's thinking, he says, right here, right now, basically he had nothing to do. His eyes fell on the line of armored suits. Or maybe he did. So we remember earlier that the Zeds, the Zed droids, security droids, were wearing a certain kind of armor so that you really honestly couldn't know if it was a human in that armor or a droid. And that's where this all comes back to fruition now, because Han is going to get in one of those suits so that he can keep a better eye on things going on. So he gets in. I love the little part too for Kel. Kelly invited quietly, walking over to the nearest suit. It didn't look complicated to get into. What? Kel asked, coming up beside him. You know anything about these? Nothing specific, Kel said, running his fingers thoughtfully along the metal of the helmet. Full life support, probably. Certainly has motion echo, power enhancement, half face heads up display, comm capability, and a partial sensor suite. Possibly targeting optics too. Thanks, Han said dryly. A shame the kid didn't know anything. I love that aspect of Kel because he's so unassuming with his knowledge and very humble about it,
And of course, Han finding himself in armor again.
Again, that's right. Yep. Stormtrooper to Zed armor, exactly. And so he's going to go, and then of course Bink. Now Bink he gives him something. He puts a comm in his helmet somewhere so that he can. Well, first Bink does this cool thing. What they cut into it, and they're trying to cheat the security system so it doesn't go off, it doesn't interact and let them know they're there. and she ends up using a neuronic whip. These whips we've already talked about because they were worried about what the whips would do. They really are supposed to hurt. Apparently, the Zeds are equipped with them, and if the whip touches you, it automatically reacts to your body chemistry in order to deliver the most potent yet non-lethal, I think, shock or whatever, the most painful, So, so she takes the neuronic whip and rolls it around the cords and creates kind of a circuit. Another cool little sciencey thing, but it was already set up for earlier with what we know about the neuronic whips. I like that idea.
Mm-hmm.
So Han's putting a comm link in his helmet so that he can contact him, but then wait a second, Bink pulled a small comm signaler from her pocket and tossed it to Kel. As long as you're in an accessorizing mood, Kel, see if you can find a spot for this. And Zerba's like, no, wait, you're supposed to take care of that part of the plan. We don't know exactly what it is yet. She's like, well, he'll be there anyway. He might as well have the honor, Later on, Han, of course, knows she's clearing up herself so that she can go rescue Tavia and her sister who's in trouble. We have a little bit of a break there back to Deja, because remember, Deja is the agent of the Imperial Intelligence there with Deshul, who's playing it being the aristocracy there. And they've got their own mission. They want to get to what's going on with Villachor there. They want to break up Black Sun, and they're using, or Deja at least is using Inger and his team, providing for them, greasing the wheels a little bit to help them get through so that they can maybe do a lot of his work for them, and he can end up getting the cryodex. That's what they want. So I like the fact that he's wondering what's going on because the fireworks are already starting, but he sees that the dome shield is still up. Now, if the dome shield stays up when the big fireworks go, that's going to actually harm the crowd because the fireworks would bounce off that, and actually harm the crowd. And he says maybe Villachor had already covered that or would be dropping the shield before the show to get to the point of endangering the visitors. Or maybe endangering the visitors was exactly what someone else had in mind. Either way, it would be a very interesting thing to watch. That's where you leave Deja. So again, even though Deja is helping our heroes, we still assert that he's evil. He's the Empire, doesn't care if people die, doesn't, anything like that.
Yeah, if anything, it's going to be a good spectacle.
Exactly. So then we get to Han. He knows that Bink was doing that to go rescue Tavia. He also knows there's no way he'd have been able to talk her out of it, whatever. They end up going through. So then Kel and Zerba, is that the part I'm at here? No, not yet. Am I? Villager open the safe. Oh, yeah, that's right. They get into the safe with Bink there still at that point. And they have to figure out that code. Remember, the code, they didn't know what it was. It was unreadable. They couldn't figure it out, and it changed. So they figured it was something personal to Villachor. So that and another thing that little data card did was to signal through the vault through the safe how many times it had been opened, so that they could have at least a base of calculation. But then they need to contact Winter, and Winter, of course, is MIA right now, and this silly rogue mission. So they haven't been able to get through to her. So a little bit of a problem there. That brings us to the end of chapter 21. Anything you want to say else about chapter 21, Al?
Not offhand, no.
Okay.
We're cruising right through it, man.
There's so much action. It moves so fast,
Yeah.
And I like to talk about the action, how it pertains to, or how Zahn is doing that, how he's moving the pace along quite a bit, because this is where the pace should be very quick towards the end. This is the climax, where we're moving through to the whole thing in action. So it should be moving very quickly. And I'm just trying to call out the cool things he's doing to keep our attention and to avoid going into too much exposition and so forth. So that's basically the rule of thumb for tonight.
Yeah, and also, like I said, is no matter how well things do go, you're still left with a sense that, of course, there's something going wrong.
Yeah.
When you have this big team and they're like all separate, you start getting, well, I haven't heard from this person. Maybe we're gonna have more. Well, I think even they talk about. I think Rochelle or Bake says, I think either way we might have another rescue mission on our hands. So it's like all these teams getting into trouble.
Yeah.
Her and Han puts himself in the middle of things again.
Han's free, but Tavi is broken or caught, and maybe Gozer and Winter. Yeah, I do like the way that chapter 21 ended with that little section of Villachor's interiority. The guards are rushing into the room. They're trying to get the vault door open. Villachor threw a sideways look at Barbas and Narkin. Those are the two Quasadi men standing there, still standing silently against the wall, their expressions unreadable, probably already working out how they were going to report this to their boss. Let them say anything they wanted. One way or another, Villachor was going to get through this. Make it fast, he told Uzior, very fast. So I like Villachor getting a little bit of a determination. At one point, he was so worried and didn't know what to do. He was Hamlet, tests within tests. What do I do? What do I do? And now he's like, I'm living.
Yeah, now he's just pissed and determined.
Exactly. So as we open up on chapter 22, we go back to Winter and Dozer, and I love that the way it is. It opens the way you alluded to already, Al. The game was over. Winter thought distantly. She played it well, survived far longer than she'd ever expected, certainly longer than any of her comrades, but now it was over, and she'd lost. And she thinks this, of course, because the Imperial craft is landing. A Sentinel-class Imperial craft lands and basically takes over the whole scene. So the Empire's there. I mean, that, they don't know, they don't know what's going on. Now the Empire comes, Deshul himself actually comes and confronts Dozer and Winter as though very, very amiably, though. Not as though they're in trouble. And he says, "Oh, I see you've retrieved my my package there. The cryodex that's in that package there." And Dozer's trying to argue, nope, this isn't yours. And I love that Winter has to, like, dude, this is the Empire. Give him the freaking package. You're not getting out of that, So, he's like, no, it was stolen from me. Give it to me. So they have to give it over to Deshul, the cryodex. They had it, but they have to give it over. And then there's that tense moment. Deshul is telling the stormtroopers to round up everybody and question them and so forth. Yes, my lord, the stormtrooper nodded at Dozer and Winter. Let's do. The man, Deshul, looked back at Winter and Dozer, and it seemed to Winter that his smile this time had an edge of ironic enjoyment to it. Master and Mistress Smith can go, he said. Will you need assistance with your vehicle? So he lets them go, and I like that it's actually Dozer at first who figures out why. Isn't it obvious, he growled? The Imperials are onto the whole thing. They let us get the cryodex for them, and now they're letting us run loose in hopes we can get the blackmail files too. And they Winter realizes, oh, that's who Inger's contact was. This mysterious contact he wouldn't tell them about. That's who they are. So the Empire, the cat's out of the bag for Inger there, at least as far as Dozer and
even in a galaxy far, far away, the name Smith. It's the most popular universe, I guess.
Exactly. Yep. Simple. I didn't catch that. I didn't think about that. You're right, though.
Yeah, I was sitting there, I was like, Smith.
That's a good point.
Like, really, Timothy? Come on.
Yep. Well, I guess he wouldn't have been able to use something exotic without somehow explaining us that was the exotic thing, or I don't know.
Well, yeah, I like the little touches that put it, like I said, that puts it in another galaxy. I mean, like the curse word that keeps popping up throughout the book, criffing.
Criffing, yeah. About criffing time. Yeah.
Still not as good as fracking, but it's, criffing. Yeah.
I still like frilling from Farscape.
Is it frelling?
Frilling, I thought.
I think it's frelling.
I think you're wrong, but whatever.
I think it's frelling. I think it's with an E.
I'm going to look that up right now, just so I can tell you I'm wrong.
Be my guest. Put your internet to the test.
Oh, you're right. I'm wrong.
I told you. Listen to the entire series on DVD, my friend.
I do too. It's actually on Amazon Prime now, too.
Amazon now, yeah.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo.
Definitely good rewatch material. It's awesome. All right, Al was wrong. Score 1 for Al. -1 on the prof. All right, so now Winter can finally contact Rochelle, and Rochelle's about freaking time, or about criffing time, I'm sorry, that you contacted me, because they desperately need her help right then to figure out this code. They can't go any farther. So they read the numbers that they had or what they knew, and Winter has read up on all of Villachor because she's got that eidetic memory. She's read all of his things about him and everything like that. She finally gets it. That it's she tries it, and then she has to try it again. She has to add one more thing to it. And they say, well, what was it? And she said, today's code is Quasadi Falline. Villachor is rotating through an alphabetical list of Black Sun's 9 Vigos with their respective species attached. Beautiful, Dozer said. bootlicking subservient, and it's a list he has to have memorized anyway. So he would, as a servant of Black Sun, have to memorize all of their officers and all of their Vigos, their 9 Vigos, and he uses that as a rotating code. So they cracked it in Winter's Tale.
Nice way of having yourself remember everything, but oops, didn't count on the enter.
Exactly, and also that, no one counts on Winter. Winter's is such a cool character. I can't wait to read more of her as I go forward in the EU from this point. I've read Dark Empire, but I need to read the Jedi Academy next. That's but I'm still back in Old Republic too. I got some more catching up to do through all that. But yeah, Winter's great, and I'm looking forward to hearing more of Kel too. Kel seems really cool. But all right, so the fact that he's subservient, again, just kind of highlighting that. Then I like the fact that we're over here and Kel. Remember, it was Kel, Zerba, and Bink in the vault room. All set, Zerba announced, stepping around the curve of the safe and fastening his now bulging hip pouch around his waist because he, got everything out of the vault there. You ready, Kel said, looking up at the hole in the ceiling. Bink should be up there. Looking down to make sure they were still on schedule, only she wasn't. She was nowhere in sight. Bink, he called softly. Don't bother, Zerba said with a grunt. She's long gone. Kel felt his jaw drop. Gone? Of course, Zerba said. Why did you think she gave that Han the trigger? She never planned to stick around when she got that safe open. But Kel looked up again. Where did she go? Where do you think? Zerba said sourly. She's charged off to rescue her sister. A lone woman wearing a burglar outfit, loaded with burglar tools, with no weapon except a small holdout blaster. She'll never make it, Kel murmured. Nope, Zerba agreed grimly. I just hope she doesn't get caught in time to foul it up for the rest of us. Kel stared at him. How can you? Because that's the kind of business this is, kid, Zerba said quietly. You can join up with someone for a job like this, but you learn not to make any long-term commitments, not even in your own mind. He gestured. Come on, time to get ready. I like that little reality check for us from Zerba here because these are our heroes and we've grown to like them and we enjoy spending time with them. We want them to succeed. It just so happens that the heist that they're pulling right now has got an altruistic element to it. You're retrieving something that was stolen from somebody. But they're still scoundrels. And remember when Bink and Tavia were marveling at how Chewie and Han were still together because people in that business don't tend to stay partners for very long and stuff like that. So this idea of loyalty to the team or family is interesting one because you think about our whole team there. Winter, of course, is Rebellion. She's with the Alliance, and she isn't really a criminal. She's there undercover, but doing this work, so she's somebody that would certainly be loyal to people. Rochelle seems very loyal. She tells Dozer and Inger right out front that Han is more important than all the credits in the galaxy. Getting our people back is what's more important. We know that, of course, Chewie's loyal. Even Lando seems very loyal to Han, even though he was second guessing whether or not Han would really come to rescue him. So, but this idea, so we're gonna see this kind of play out. This question of, are they loyal to each other? Are they the scoundrels they think they are or not? We're going to see this kind of play out. Of course, Bink would rescue her sister. That's a bond that goes deeper than the team,
And like you said, you were talking about the life lesson from Zerba to Kel. Zerba is the older, more experienced. He's seen this. He's seen it happen. I would not be at all surprised when he was young that he had friends who had to go off or get killed or something. Sometimes you just can't let yourself get too attached, or you're always going to have some kind of emotional turmoil going on in your life. If you just shut yourself off, then you're another cog in the machine, and hopefully the job gets done.
Exactly, and it's interesting. I do like Zerba. I really come to like him as a character too. This Balasar is the performer and whatnot. I don't know if he shows up elsewhere in the EU. People haven't said anything about that. You can let me know if he does, in the chat. But I know Kel does. Obviously, Winter and our usual characters there. But then we jump into Bink's perspective, and she's running off to rescue Tavia, wondering why no one stopped her. Kel certainly Han knew. Zerba must have known either, but he hadn't stopped her. Kel might have been duped, except Kel might have tried to stop her, except he'd probably completely missed the fact that she was running out on them. That part of it bothered her. She'd worked with a fair number of people over the years, and she'd never failed any of them before. She wasn't failing Zerba and the others here either, of course, not really. Han had the trigger, and Han knew what he was doing usually. But sometimes the perception of guilt was more important even than the guilt itself. She set her jaw. It was her sister. If they couldn't see that or didn't care, then to chaos with all of them. And especially to chaos with anyone who objected on the grounds that she'd just walk up to the door of Kwasati's suite and get herself killed. That one was not only a misunderstanding, but also a professional insult. So it does bother her when she thinks of Kel, somebody who's not hardened, somebody who's not expecting her to do this and actually placed genuine trust in her. And she realizes that she is betraying that trust that he placed in her, even though, as she justifies, my part of the mission is over and so blah, blah, blah. Then, of course, she resents them thinking that she's just going to go get herself killed, as Zerba and Kel just, postulated. So nice little interiority of her mind, and she's trying to make her way there and whatnot. All right, then we jump to Villachor's Villachor and his team there trying to open the vault again. And Villachor notices an extra guard that's crept in. Somebody in Z armor. Of course, that's Han. And Han's not quite as incognito as he thought he would be here. They ask him, "Who are you? What are you doing?" And he says, "My name is Digrick. His Excellency Master Kwasati ordered me to come in here and observe." Well, then Villachor is offended because that means Kwasati was having his men help themselves to his armor, to his armory, which is another insult on top of insults. As long as you're here, you might as well help. Now here's where we see Han trying to assert a little bit of authority, like Lando did at the beginning with the posing as the police sergeant. "I was told to stand ready for whatever we would find inside," Digrick demurred calmly. "My orders didn't say anything about helping with the preliminaries." And he goes back and forth a couple of times like that. So we've got that tense situation there. He's there. So far, so good, but, a lot more tension. And, of course, now Villachor says, "Well, if Kwasati's men are helping themselves to my armory, go secure my armory." And that means they're going to find out the hole that they'd cut in to the vault, that the whole gig's up once they find that. So Han secretly radios trouble. "Zerba, how hard did you lock the room after I left?" And they realize they're going to be able to get in soon. And Bink's still listening. So if you don't, we sure don't, Zerba agreed. I vote we go ahead and turn Chewie and Lando loose. And Chewie and Lando were the ones that were going to bust in and try and save Tavia. "You've got 2 minutes to get in position." No, hold on, Bink cut in. "They can't go yet. I'm not in position. She wants to be there, to help with Tavia or whatever." Han says, "You got 2 minutes. We can't wait on this. You're the one going rogue here. Things have complicated. We need to do this now." Han told her tartly. So Uzier says the vault will open in 8. "We need something to distract the guards from this part of the mansion, and Chewie and Lando are it. Can you do it, Bink?" Kel asked. "Do I have a choice?" Bink bit out. "Fine, go ahead. But if anything happens to Tavia, it will be on your head, and I mean that literally." "I know," Han said. 2 minutes, Rochelle." "Got it," Rochelle braced herself as she switched over to Chewbacca's more secure comm link frequency. "Chewie, Inger, 2 minutes." So whatever they're going to do, they've got 2 minutes to do it. Now everything's going to basically go down. And it's really cool how this chapter ends. It's a great little cliffhanger because next week we're going to read the final 2 chapters. Next week is the end of Scoundrels for us, the last 2 chapters. As I said, this is the penultimate study. But now Bink is faced with the problem of there's no way possible she's going to get over there to that part of the mansion where she needs to be, running through the walls like she's doing. So she ends up going through the dumbwaiter. And I'm really kind of impressed with her ability, contortionist-wise or acrobatic-wise or whatever, to be able to climb through the way it's described and everything, swinging your legs in this way. It's kind of makes me feel claustrophobic just thinking about it. But she's able to do this.
Kind of gives me a respect for her.
And we'll just leave that at there. Kastani. Then we move over to Kastani. Remember, he was one of the guards that was with Lando in the droid room where they were looking at what was sabotaged, and Lando is trying to stall them, but his stalling is going awry. And so the 2 minutes are up, and suddenly, this is their plan. As he and Kastani spun toward the door, an airspeeder roared past down the corridor, bouncing back and forth into the walls on either side. Kastani had just enough time to bark to startle a curse before a second vehicle went shooting past behind it. And right behind the vehicles, running for all they were worth, were Chewbacca and Inger. So that's their distraction. Just setting off some speeders loose in the mansion. That's great, Lando gets cut loose as the guards are rushing to try and take care of this. We don't know what's happening with that, but a great job there. And a couple of them. So Lando's running. He's trying to find Chewbacca and Inger so that he can join up with them. He's still in his police uniform, so some people are helpfully pointing out to the uniformed police sergeant, charging after the intruders. None of them made any move to stop or challenge him. He left the north wing and was heading up a wide staircase leading to a central section at the northeast wing beyond when he heard the first sounds of blaster fire. So he's not supposed to hear blaster fire. They're just supposed to charge past with these speeders and clear the way for them in a distraction, but blaster fire, so possible complication there. We have to wait till the next chapter to find that out. But this chapter ends with jumping back to Villachor there, Shikoa and Quazadi's men, and we've got Han still there in the Zed uniform. Things go a little bit awry here. So I like that Villachor looks at Quazadi's men is like, aren't you going to go and protect your Quazadi, protect your master excellency? And they kind of rush off, with the tail between their legs, like, yeah, we should be there. And Villachor says to Han, because he's supposedly posing as one of Quazadi's men too, says, you can go with them, Villachor added. Han blinked away his tactical visualizations. Villachor was gazing at him, the same deadly ice in his eyes. And Han tries to pull this Lando again. I was ordered here, Han said. I'll leave if and when I receive new orders. Now, Villachor, of course, is bucking up against that because that's this old wound with him and Quazadi. You'll leave when I order you to leave, Villachor said calmly. This is my territory and such and such. I understand, Master Villachor, Han said, trying for the right mix of respect and arrogance that so many mid-level fleet officers had mastered. And if I'm not intention of violating that command, but so he's trying to do what Lando was doing earlier, trying for that sense of arrogance and whatever, and Lando pulled it off, but Han can't quite. It's a little bit of a juxtaposition there because that's Lando's field and Han's a smuggler. But then that's when the alert sounds because of the speeders going through the hall. So they have that alert. So that's the distraction. That should have happened. So far, so good. But they also found out at the same time, before they should have, sir, the vault's been breached, Shikoa relayed urgently to Villachor. So they found the hole in the ready room. That means, of course, the ready room is where that armor came from. So Han's kind of sold out at that point. For a heartbeat, Villachor just stared at him. Then he spun around to the men straining at the frozen Zeds. Get the door open now, he snarled. He jabbed a finger at Han and put that man under arrest.
Dun,
so,
dun, dun.
Exactly. And that's the end of chapter 22.
There's something
Again,
that this section needed more of. Chewbacca.
I know you love Chewbacca.
I mean, yeah, he's running after the speeders, which so what a great distraction. I just set speeders with the fireplace. It does give you an idea. Like the place has to be a good size to we actually get speeders inside that can keep going and not just crash into a wall real quick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm guessing these are probably speeders like the ones in Return of the Jedi on the Endor moon, maybe like the forest speeders. Maybe I don't know, something smaller, not the big ones.
Those are speeder bikes. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I don't know.
It didn't say, I don't think, exactly what kind of speeders, but I'm just trying to imagine or picture it.
Because I think of a speeder, I always think of Luke's speeder from the original.
Yeah,
that might be a little big, but
yeah. Well, it's a mansion after all, so who knows how big the halls are.
Yeah. And a lot of these speeders can also fly. So as we found out with Dozer,
exactly.
Go up and around and
down.
twist down and whoopsie daisy and
Yep. So back to the drawing board says his favorite EU profanity is Sith spit. That's a good one too. I think that's in the Old Republic game a lot. Oh, the Sith spit, and stuff. Yeah, spit of a Sith. That's a good one. Jedi. Oh, Mr. Magic saying Jedi Academy is pretty good. Yeah, that's what I've heard. I mean, I love Kevin J. Anderson too, so I'm excited to read that one.
I have that, don't I?
You gave it to me, actually.
I did? Oh, yep. Okay.
No takebacks. I mean, a double, I think that was why you gave it to me or something. But
no, I just think I was being generous.
Oh, it can go in the pile of the things Al's come back and said, remember that remember that thing that I get? Can you maybe take that out of the giveaway pile?
Now. Come on now. There was a reason. I had a little more space than I thought in my notebook.
Hey, no sweat off my back. They were just going to go to probably Goodwill in the end, so I've got them set aside for you, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even sure which ones are exactly, but
I got them. I found the ones you wanted.
I was putting some other ones away today. I was like, "God, come here, cross more."
Oh, wow. Back to the drawing board says this moment also alludes to Kel's poor fit for this life. He goes to extreme lengths to save his friends. Yeah. So again, I haven't read the future of Kel in the EU that a lot of you have, but I know he ends up in a rather somewhat heroic role, if I remember correctly. Again, I don't want to know all the details to spoil it, but yeah, he ends up in a rather heroic role later. So it is a poor fit for this life. That's a good way of putting it. Shows that he's meant for something more than scoundrel work. Yeah.
Well, like I said, if you're a young person, and if he's going to hang around someone like Han and Lando, I mean, look at what they ended up being, generals in the rebellion. I mean, so that there's if you have someone to look up to or model yourself after, that's not a bad role to take, not a bad role model for you.
Yeah.
But you figure someone like Zerba or Dozer, they're pretty much going to be who they are. You don't see them changing too much. They're always going to have their midst into some kind of questionable enterprise.
Yeah. So next week, 23 and 24, and that wraps us up. Let me make sure just to double. Yeah, there's all that extra space at the end or samples of other books. Yeah, 23 and 24 wraps up the book for us. So next week we will end Scoundrels and wrap it all up. Put a nice bow on it. And the week after that, we start Dune. So I'm very excited about that. And I do see, just looking over on my Facebook tab here, I see that Troy has sent me message like 2 EPUB files for is that the whole Dune, Troy? If that is something, PDFs, if that's something you can put in the files on the Facebook group for anybody who needs it, you're welcome to. It's a nice private group. So if you haven't joined that Facebook group yet, I think everybody here is a member, but you want to go ahead and join that. And then you've got a lot of perks. You can submit your writing to me for the writing sample lessons. You can get access to some files we post, to save people some money when they want to join the clubs and stuff like that. You can get a little bit more of the schedule for rewatches, and you can join into the conversation with us all week long, which is always fun. You don't just have to wait for the Tuesdays or Thursdays or the other time slots where all of our the Professor Geek Friends and Family Network likes to stream and whatnot. So,
ooh, I like that.
You like that?
Professor Geek's Friends and Family.
Friends and family, because they're all friends and family. There's none of my actual family. But Stephen Cruz, $10. Man, you didn't have to do that. Great lesson today. I'm learning so much, brother. Keep getting the next 2 paragraphs ready for the next one. Cool. Great. Excellent. I'm glad you like it. I'm glad they work for you. Thank you very much for the super chat. That's very much appreciated. And I will post that revised version up in the as a reply to your post. So yeah. Wolfton Media. Oh yes, Wolfton Media. I saw your post. I'm gonna go ahead and share this. Share this as long as it doesn't kill the signal again. Hopefully sharing won't do anything here. But this is the Sith Emperor that apparently Wolfton Media says I look like without my glasses. Every time I see the professor without his glasses, I see this. That does not look like me at all. That's like Anthony Hopkins. I don't curl my mustache.
It looks like the most interesting man in the universe.
I know. That's what I posted on the other side there. Ha ha ha, no. Then Sound Engraver comes in with this. I hope I like the comparison and hope they're assaulted by this. Just pretend this emperor is a paragon of virtue and it should be fine. Nice. I wouldn't mind being emperor. Emperor, no. Chancellor of the Republic. There you go. Probably not, actually. But anyway, I haven't gotten to him yet. I'm still
Who is
in
who is
the
it?
older.
What's his name?
I think he put his name in the chat, but I don't think he put his name here on this. So he'll say it name. Wolftown Media will say it again in the chat, I'm sure. But yeah, I'm still on the Knights of the Old Republic computer games level of the Old Republic EU era. I just read not Fatal Alliance. Was it Fatal Alliance? The one with the amazing book. It was so good. Drew Capuchin with Theron and Nosteral going after the Ascendant Spear. You know, the big wicked starship from the Sith Empire run by a Falleen. It was really, really cool. But I just finished that. Now I got to play another section of the game to get through. But good stuff. Good stuff. Let me get rid of that. So yeah, next week, the next 2 chapters. This is Thursday. Tomorrow night, Fan Man tonight. He doesn't know the time yet, right, Al?
Not that I'm aware of. It's usually around 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Or
so,
something.
That'll be all 3 of us will be there. Fan Man tonight, talking about some of the San Diego Comic Con stuff. Saturday night is the wonderful, our dear, dear, beloved Ma and Papa Celli. You guys forgive me. You know how bad I am with numbers. I think it's your 28th wedding anniversary. Is that right? Did I say that right? But happy early anniversary to our
Happy
dear
anniversary.
and
Happy
very
anniversary. Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary.
Yes. So, yeah, very cool. And that's going to be on Troy's channel, I think, because they maybe had trouble with the nets right until the computer's fixed up. Wherever. But that'll be on Troy's channel. The Time Traveler's Wife. I haven't seen it, but it's supposed to be really good. That's a rewatch Saturday night celebrating the Pacelli's wedding anniversary. I don't think I'll be able to be there live, but I'm definitely at least going to be there in the chat to wish them a very, very, very happy anniversary. Heartfelt happy anniversary. I hope it's a great weekend for them both. As much as they can celebrate, you know, in the world today with all the nonsense going on. Can't really go out anywhere and do much, I'm sure. But yeah, that's cool. So that's Saturday. And then Sunday night, this Sunday is the study hall on Troy's channel, I think, if I got that right. We Watch was last Sunday. So this Sunday.
Well, I thought Age of Boomer was doing it.
Or is it on Age of Boomer's channel? I know Age of Boomer's a part of it. I can't remember whose channel it was on. Let me know, guys. Sunday on Age of Boomer's channel. Okay, thank you.
Wow.
Thank you. Troy says. Yeah, Troy. Sunday on Age of Boomer's channel, but I don't have a link for that yet. That's fine. Yeah, Age of Boomer. I don't know if he's with us tonight. He sometimes he's got a life, I guess, outside of the Professor Geekdom, which I don't really get, but whatever, you know. So that's study hall. That'll be fun. They'll probably talk about a lot of that San Diego stuff too. A lot of geek news, you know, cover things that we used to cover on office hours. So you can still get your fix of that, which is great. Sunday night from Age of Boomer. Troy will be there, a part of that. That's Sunday. And then Monday night is Sound Engraver's night for her coffee break live stream. She just in the chat there said, if you guys are interested in seeing me doing my work live, I may do that Monday night. That is awesome. Ooh. Yes. Sound Engraver just dropped a really cool part 2 video of this piece she's been working on. And it's she did the violin tracks on last Thursday's video, which was sounding really cool. In today's video, she drops the percussion. And it was really neat to hear it all come together. So yeah, she might do some of that live Monday night and just chatting with us while she does that. That's really cool. Composing electronic music and all that, she says. That's cool. So definitely tune into Sound Engraver's channel Monday night around 9-ish. That's that. Tuesday night, we are going to continue our screwball comedy on the Tuesday Night Classics on my channel with Some Like It Hot. And again, assuming that Troy and Al can behave themselves.
The film
you watched it today, right?
I actually did not. I woke up this morning and it was on one of the like Turner Classic things.
Okay.
I saw the last 15 minutes, maybe.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Gotcha. So yeah, that's that. That is Tuesday night, and it's a really hilarious film. Billy Wilder, the same director who did Double Indemnity, the film noir we did that we all love so much. So we're going to see his take on screwball comedy. Jack Lemmon, Tony Curtis, Marilyn Monroe, really good stuff. That's Tuesday night, and Wednesday night's free until we get back to Thursday night, which is back here to finish up Scoundrels. So, yep, good solid week. And I think next week, I don't know what Matchstick is doing for what we watch next week. Konosuba. I don't know what that is. Konosuba.
Uh,
Konosuba. That's what I'm going to say. I mispronounce it for him. But that's on Match 6 channel next Sunday. So, all right. Well, thank you guys for hanging out. Thanks for putting up with the horrible video quality for part of that writing lecture. When I make that a video, when the video part gets choppy, I can just put up an image or two, to take care of that. But I do cut that part out eventually and make it a video on the channel, so you can just catch just the content and you don't have to sift through the whole long stream to get that again if you want to revisit it. So I will put that up shortly and then cut this book study stream down to start right at the book study, so you can look for that on the channel. But thanks for everybody hanging out with that, putting up with us, and tech and everything like that. Hopefully it was helpful. Appreciate all the good feedback we got. And anything you want to say before we sign this off then, Al?
I think we're pretty good.
Pretty good. Okay. Well, yeah. Until next time then, keep enjoying and digging deeper into the hero stories you love. Thanks for watching.
I told you it was Frelin. Told you.